Have you ever looked at the price tag of a premium English speaking course and felt a heavy sigh escape your lips? Have you ever sat in a classroom staring at a whiteboard filled with complex grammar rules, only to find that when you step out into the real world, the words simply refuse to flow? You are not alone. Millions of people around the world, especially in regions where English is not the native tongue, carry a deep, silent frustration. They believe that fluency is a luxury reserved for those who can afford expensive tutors, elite private schools, or study abroad programs. But what if everything you have been told about learning a language is fundamentally flawed? What if the most effective, rapid, and permanent way to become absolutely fluent in English requires exactly 0 rupees, 0 teachers, and 0 traditional courses? It sounds like a radical claim, but it is a reality that has been proven by countless polyglots and self-taught language learners across the globe. The truth is, language is not an academic subject to be memorized from a textbook. It is a skill to be lived, breathed, and experienced. You did not learn your mother tongue by sitting in a classroom studying verb conjugations. You learned it by immersing yourself in it, by making mistakes, by listening, and by desperately wanting to communicate your needs to the world. You can replicate this exact same natural acquisition process for English starting today without spending a single penny. To begin this journey, we must first dismantle the most toxic myth that holds back aspiring English speakers: the obsession with grammatical perfection. From a young age, the traditional education system conditions us to believe that making a grammatical mistake is a failure. We are taught that English is a rigid set of rules, and if we do not know the difference between the present perfect and past simple tenses, we have no right to speak. This creates a paralyzing fear. When you want to speak, your brain runs a complex diagnostic check, trying to match your thoughts to the grammar rules you memorized years ago. By the time you formulate the perfect sentence, the conversation has moved on, and you are left in silence. To become fluent, you must ruthlessly abandon this pursuit of perfection. Fluency is not about perfection, it is about connection. If you say, "Yesterday I go market," the person listening to you understands exactly what you mean. You have successfully communicated. The goal of language is to transfer a thought from your brain to someone else's brain. If you achieve that, you have succeeded. Stop treating grammar as the master and start treating it as a byproduct. As you immerse yourself in the language, your brain will naturally absorb the structural patterns. You will begin to know what sounds right and what sounds wrong, not because you remembered a rule, but because it feels familiar. Give yourself permission to make 100 mistakes a day. Every mistake is a stepping stone to fluency. Now that you have freed your mind from the grammar trap, you must create an artificial immersion environment. People often say that the best way to learn a language is to live in a country where it is spoken. While that is true, it is not because of some magic in the air. It is because of constant, unavoidable exposure. You can manufacture this exact same environment in your own home without buying a plane ticket. Immersion means that English becomes the background noise of your life. Think about how much time you spend scrolling through social media, watching television, or listening to music. Right now, the majority of that content is probably in your native language. You need to flip the switch. Change the language settings on your smartphone, your computer, and all your social media accounts to English. At first, it will be incredibly annoying. You will struggle to find the settings you want, and it will feel like a lot of friction. Embrace that friction. That tiny bit of cognitive effort is your brain building new neural pathways. Every time you unlock your phone and see settings or search instead of your native language, you are reinforcing your English vocabulary. Beyond your devices, you must change your entertainment diet entirely. Stop consuming media in your native language. If you love watching movies, watch them in English. If you enjoy watching dramas, switch to English series. When you watch, use English subtitles, not subtitles in your native language. Reading subtitles in your native language tricks your brain into ignoring the English audio. Your eyes will naturally read faster than the actors speak, and you will completely tune out the English sounds. By using English subtitles, you are forcing your brain to connect the spoken sounds with the written words, dramatically improving both your listening comprehension and your reading speed. If you are a beginner, start with children's movies or animated films. The vocabulary is simpler, the enunciation is clearer, and the visual cues help you understand the story, even if you do not know every word. As you progress, move on to sitcoms, documentaries, and podcasts. Podcasts are an absolute gold mine for language learners because they rely entirely on audio. Find a podcast on a topic you genuinely enjoy, whether it is true crime, history, science, or comedy, and listen to it while you commute, wash the dishes, or exercise. You do not need to understand every single word. Let the rhythm and intonation of the language wash over you. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine. The more English audio you feed it, the better it becomes at distinguishing individual words, phrases, and accents. As you flood your brain with English input, you must also develop a mechanism to produce output without the pressure of speaking to another human being. This is where the powerful technique of self-talk comes into play. Thinking in English is the ultimate bridge to fluency, and you can build it deliberately. Most people translate in their heads. They have a thought in their native language, translate it into English, and then speak it. This translation process is the biggest enemy of fluency. To speak fluently, you must think directly in English. You can train yourself to do this through a step-by-step process. Start by narrating your physical actions in your head. As you make your morning coffee, think to yourself, I am opening the cabinet. I am taking out a cup. The water is boiling. I am pouring the coffee. Keep this internal monologue going throughout the day. When you are walking down the street, describe what you see in your head. There is a red car. A man is walking his dog. The sky is cloudy. By doing this, you are linking English words directly to physical reality, bypassing your native language entirely. Once you are comfortable narrating the present moment, move to the next level. Talking to yourself out loud. Find a private space, a room in your house, the shower, or even during a solitary walk, and just speak. Talk about your day, your plans for the weekend, or a movie you just watched. Pretend you are being interviewed on a podcast or explaining a concept to an imaginary friend. When you do this, you will inevitably hit roadblocks. You will want to say a word but won't know the English equivalent. This is a beautiful moment of discovery. When this happens, note down the concept you were trying to express and look it up later. This vocabulary is highly personal and relevant to your daily life, making it much easier to remember than random words from a vocabulary list. Talking to yourself out loud trains your vocal cords, tongue, and lips to produce English sounds comfortably. It removes the fear of judgment. You are your own safest audience. Another highly effective zero-cost technique is shadowing. Shadowing is a method where you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say almost simultaneously, like a shadow following a person. Find a short YouTube video or a podcast clip of a speaker whose voice and style you admire. Listen to a sentence, pause it, and immediately repeat it aloud, trying your absolute best to mimic their pronunciation, their pacing, their emotional tone, and even their accent. Do not just read the words, act them out. If the speaker whispers, you whisper. If they speak with excitement, you speak with excitement. Shadowing trains your mouth muscles to move in the specific ways required for natural English speech. It also deeply embeds the natural rhythm of the language into your brain. English is a stress-timed language. meaning certain syllables and words are emphasized more than others. Mimicking native speakers helps you absorb this rhythm intuitively, making your speech sound incredibly natural and confident. To build an extensive vocabulary without a teacher, you must become an active reader. Reading is the most reliable way to encounter new words in their natural context, which is how your brain prefers to learn them. However, reading to improve language is slightly different from casual reading. You need a system. Start by reading material that is slightly below your current level to build confidence and speed. This could be young adult fiction, comic books, or simple news articles. As you read, you will encounter words you do not know. The biggest mistake people make is stopping to look up every single unknown word in the dictionary. This breaks your concentration, ruins the flow of the story, and makes reading a tedious chore. Instead, try to guess the meaning of the word from the surrounding context. Keep reading. If a word appears multiple times and seems important to the plot, then it is worth looking up. When you do learn a new word, do not just memorize it in isolation. Learn it in chunks or phrases. For example, instead of learning the word depend, learn the phrase depend on. Instead of learning decision, learn make a decision. Learning chunks of language allows you to speak faster because your brain retrieves whole phrases rather than constructing sentences word by word. Keep a small notebook or a note app on your phone where you can collect these phrases. Review them occasionally, but more importantly, try to actively use them in your self-talk or writing exercises. Writing is another powerful tool for developing fluency, and it costs absolutely nothing. Writing gives you the time to construct your thoughts, experiment with new vocabulary, and structure your sentences without the real-time pressure of a conversation. Start a daily English journal. It does not need to be a literary masterpiece. Just write down 5 to 10 sentences about your day, your feelings, or your goals. If you are feeling stuck, write about a topic you are passionate about. The act of writing forces you to retrieve words from your memory and organize them logically. Once you are comfortable with short journal entries, you can leverage the internet to interact with real people. Join Reddit communities, Discord servers, or Facebook groups related to your hobbies. Participate in the discussions. Leave comments on YouTube videos. The internet is a vast, anonymous playground where you can practice English writing without fear of embarrassment. Engaging in text-based debates or conversations online simulates the quick thinking required for spoken conversations, but allows you the safety net of a keyboard. In today's digital age, you have access to a free, tireless, and infinitely patient language partner in the form of artificial intelligence. You do not need to spend money on a tutor when you have a smartphone with an AI assistant. You can use voice-to-text features and AI chatbots to simulate real conversations. Open a voice chat with an AI and tell it, "I want to practice my English speaking skills. Please have a casual conversation with me about travel. Correct my major mistakes, but focus on keeping the conversation flowing." The AI will respond instantly, ask you follow-up questions, and adapt to your level. This provides the conversational dynamics of speaking with a human, but without the anxiety of being judged. Furthermore, you can use AI to improve your pronunciation. Read a paragraph aloud and send the audio to an AI transcription tool. If the AI transcribes your speech accurately, you know your pronunciation is clear. If it makes mistakes, you can identify the specific words or sounds you need to work on. When you feel ready to interact with real humans, the internet provides endless opportunities for language exchange. There are millions of native English speakers who are desperately trying to learn your native language. You can find them on free language exchange apps like HelloTalk or Tandem. The premise is simple. You help them with your language for 30 minutes, and they help you with English for 30 minutes. This mutual exchange removes the financial barrier and creates a supportive, empathetic environment. You are both struggling learners, which eliminates the fear of making mistakes. If you cannot find a language exchange partner, Look for local community groups. Many cities have free walking clubs, book clubs, or cultural meetups where English is the common language. The key is to seek out environments where English is the medium of communication, not the subject of study. As you progress on this self-taught journey, you will inevitably face the phenomenon known as the intermediate plateau. This is the stage where you have learned the basics. You can understand a lot, but your progress seems to stall. You feel like you are using the same basic words and sentence structures every day, and the magic of rapid learning fades. This is the point where most people give up and enroll in a course hoping a teacher will push them forward. But the plateau is a natural part of skill acquisition. To break through it, you must deliberately challenge yourself. Stop consuming easy content. If you can understand 90% of what you hear, you are no longer learning, you are just reviewing. You need to find content that is just slightly above your current level, where you understand about 70% to 80%. Watch documentaries with complex vocabulary. Listen to fast-paced comedy podcasts. Read opinion pieces in reputable newspapers. When you intentionally expose yourself to difficult material, you force your brain to stretch and adapt. Another way to shatter the plateau is to stop talking about the same topics. If you only ever talk about your daily routine, your English will remain basic. Force yourself to discuss abstract, complex ideas. Try to explain the plot of a complicated movie. Try to argue for or against a controversial topic. Try to describe a beautiful memory from your childhood in vivid detail. When you attempt to express complex emotions and nuanced thoughts, you will realize the limitations of your current vocabulary, which will naturally drive you to learn the specific words you need. Consistency is the ultimate currency of language learning. You cannot learn English by studying for 5 hours on a Sunday and ignoring it for the rest of the week. Language is a muscle that atrophies when not used. You must commit to a daily practice, even if it is just for 15 minutes. The goal is to make English an ingrained habit, as automatic as brushing your teeth. It is better to listen to one English song and sing along every single day than to watch an entire movie once a month. Build micro habits into your routine. While brushing your teeth, think in English about what you are going to eat for breakfast. While waiting for the bus, read an English news article on your phone. While cooking dinner, listen to an English podcast. These small, consistent drops of English exposure will accumulate into a vast ocean of fluency over time. It is also crucial to manage your psychological state throughout this process. Learning a language is an emotional roller coaster. There will be days when you watch a movie and understand everything, feeling like an absolute genius. There will be other days when you forget a simple word or fail to understand a basic sentence, feeling like a complete failure. This fluctuation is completely normal. Do not tie your self-worth to your daily language performance. Celebrate the small victories. Celebrate the first time you catch yourself dreaming in English. Celebrate the first time you speak to a foreigner and they understand you perfectly without asking you to repeat yourself. Celebrate the first time you make a joke in English. These moments of success are the fuel that will keep your motivation burning. Ultimately, the concept of spending money to learn a language is an illusion. Money can buy you a teacher's time, but it cannot buy your dedication. Money can buy you a textbook, but it cannot buy your curiosity. A teacher can point out your mistakes, but only you can internalize the correction. A course can provide a structure, but only you can provide the consistency. The most successful language learners in the world are not the ones with the most money. They are the ones with the most exposure, the most courage, and the most resilience. You have everything you need right now. You have a smartphone with access to all the knowledge and media in the world. You have a voice to practice with. You have a brain wired to recognize patterns and acquire language naturally. By shifting your mindset from academic study to lifestyle immersion, by abandoning the fear of grammatical perfection, by creating an English bubble around your daily life, and by practicing consistently through self-talk, shadowing, reading, and writing, you will achieve a level of fluency that no classroom could ever provide. You will not just learn English, you will live it. And you will do it all with an investment of exactly 0 rupees. Proving to yourself that your potential is not limited by your financial resources, but only by your willingness to step out of your comfort zone and speak. The journey to fluency does not start when you buy a course. It starts the moment you decide to open your mouth, embrace the mistakes, and let the language become a part of who you are.